fire inside you, a slow, patient flame. Not the kind that burns everything down, but the kind that transforms. The ancients called it alchemy, the sacred science of transmutation. What is inner alchemy? There is a fire inside you. To the outside world, alchemy looked like the mad obsession of old mystics in stone rooms turning lead into gold. But to the inner world, it was never really about metal. It was about the soul, about transforming heaviness into light, fear into insight, wound into wisdom, shadow into gold. Alchemy was a metaphor for inner work, a map for those willing to walk the path of becoming. And now, in this modern world of timelines and surface thinking, it rises again, not as superstition, but as sacred memory. Because you can feel it, that deeper process inside you, something breaking down, and something else just barely beginning to emerge. Welcome to the alchemist's path. This is not a self-help journey. It's not about fixing what's broken. It's about transmuting what's been forgotten. It's the recognition that your deepest pains were never just problems. They were materials, raw, potent, volatile, but sacred. Alchemy begins with a single truth. You are the crucible. You are the fire. You are the one who transforms. The ancient mystics knew this. Across Egypt, Greece, Persia, and China, they spoke in riddles and symbols. Because alchemy was never meant for the casual mind. It was encoded, hidden, a spiritual technology disguised as chemistry. The Ouroboros, a snake eating its own tail, represented the eternal cycle of destruction and renewal. The philosopher's stone was not a literal rock, but a symbol of wholeness, the perfected human. And the alchemist's process, it mirrored something universal. Nigredo, the blackening, the breakdown, the descent into chaos. Albedo, the whitening, the purification, the clarity after pain. Rubedo, the reddening, the integration, the emergence of the true self. These weren't just stages for metals, they were stages of the soul. Think about your own life, your own pain, your own grief, heartbreak, disillusionment. Have you ever noticed how your darkest moments also carried the seed of transformation? How the death of one identity became the birthplace of something deeper? That's alchemy. But this path is not fast. It is not glamorous. It is not easy. It begins in the dark, with the courage to face the raw lead of your life, the trauma you buried, the shame you wear like armor, the longing you silence with distraction. You must bring these into the fire. And here's the paradox. The fire is not outside of you. It is your awareness, your breath, your willingness to witness what you once ran from. Because awareness doesn't burn you. It purifies you. It doesn't destroy the lead. It reveals the gold inside it. This is the secret of the inner alchemists. The realization that the only real transformation is the one that begins within. So let's start this journey where it truly begins. Not with answers, not with formulas, but with your willingness to stay present in the heat, to descend into the blackening, to stand still as your illusions melt, to face the mirror of your shadow and ask, what do you want me to see? Because true alchemy doesn't demand perfection. It demands honesty, the raw kind, the trembling kind, the kind that says, I don't know who I am anymore, but I'm willing to find out. That is the spark, that is the flame. And from there, everything begins to change. To walk the alchemist's path is to speak in symbols, to listen with your whole being, to understand that nothing in your life is random. It's all material. In the temples of ancient Egypt, priests whispered secrets in shadowed halls. In Hellenistic Alexandria, early alchemists encoded their truths in vessels, glyphs, fire, but they weren't seeking gold. Not really. They were seeking a gold that lived within, a radiant truth buried beneath layers of belief, pain, and illusion. They called it the divine spark, the prima materia, the soul of the world. And their symbols, they were mirrors for what was happening inside. The black crow, the raven, symbols of Nigredo, the stage of dissolution where false identities collapse. The swan, albedo, the purity that comes after the fall, and the phoenix, rubedo, the burning and rising of the fully integrated self. This wasn't myth, it was initiation. They weren't teaching chemistry, they were teaching inner transformation. They knew that to change the world, you had to first change yourself. That the laboratory was your psyche, that the fire was your willingness, that the philosopher's stone was your true nature, hidden beneath centuries of forgetting. And then, centuries later, one man looked into the old manuscripts and recognized the mirror. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychoanalyst who charted the terrain of dreams, the unconscious, the archetype, the shadow. When Jung encountered alchemical texts, he didn't see superstition. He saw the code of the soul. He realized that the medieval alchemists were performing not just physical experiments, but symbolic rituals of psychic evolution. They were mapping out a language of inner work. Jung wrote, "Alchemy represents the projection of a drama both cosmic and spiritual in nature, which is enacted in the laboratory, in the psyche." He recognized Nigredo was the breakdown of the ego, the depression, the dark night of the soul. Albedo was the cleansing light of new awareness, those insights that come after devastation. Rubedo was integration, when opposites merge, when meaning crystallizes, when selfhood returns, reborn. Jung called this process individuation, becoming whole by integrating the disowned parts of yourself. He saw the shadow, not as something to eliminate, but as a sacred part of your completeness. He saw the anima and animus, the inner feminine and masculine, as needing union, and he believed that through this symbolic descent, through the crucible of the psyche, something could emerge that was not the ego, but the self. Not the identity you perform, but the archetypal essence behind it. This was alchemy in the modern age, and it lives in you. You may never hold a beaker or light a flame, but your soul is a laboratory. Every heartbreak, every dream, every trigger, every awakening, these are your ingredients, your materia prima. And when you choose to engage with them consciously, when you see pain not as punishment, but as portal, you become the alchemist. You begin to transmute, shame into compassion, fear into wisdom, longing into vision, fragmentation into wholeness. This is not metaphor. This is transformation. Alchemy didn't die. It evolved. It entered your journal, your meditation cushion, your therapy sessions. It's encoded in your dreams, your grief, your poetry. It's hidden in your moments of silence, where insight suddenly emerges from the dark. And when you realize that, you stop searching for gold. You start recognizing that you are the gold, still raw, still refining, but already holy. Now we dive deeper into the alchemy of healing. How trauma, shadow, and memory become sacred fire. Some pain doesn't just pass through you, it settles. Some pain doesn't just pass through you, it settles. It embeds itself in the tissues of memory, in the folds of the body, in the silences between your thoughts. This is where modern healing meets ancient alchemy, because the journey toward wholeness isn't about escape. It's about integration. It's about walking into the fire, with your forgotten parts in hand, and letting that fire reveal not what's wrong with you, but what's ready to be reclaimed. This is inner alchemy in practice. Every one of us carries parts of the self that were once whole, but broke off when the world said, too much, too sensitive, too strange, too loud. These exiled parts didn't vanish. They retreated into the unconscious. Some became inner children. Stuck in the moment the laughter stopped. Others became protectors, angry, reactive, armored, trying to guard what still hurts. This is the territory of internal family systems, IFS, a modern map of the psyche that echoes ancient wisdom. You are not one voice, you are a constellation of selves, and each one longs to be heard. The shame that flares when you speak your truth. Apart. The voice that says, don't trust them. Apart. The tenderness that aches when you hear a sad song. Also apart. And here's the alchemy. You don't exile these parts. You welcome them. You sit at the fire of your own awareness and say to each one, I see you. I hear you. I will not turn away. This is how fragmentation becomes unity. In Jungian language, it's the process of shadow integration. But in alchemical language, it's the process of rubedo, the stage of reddening, where the once separate ingredients fuse into something new, where what was once hidden begins to shine. And it's not just psychological, it's spiritual. Because as you gather your exiled parts, you begin to feel something deeper, a self that is not any one part, but the presence that holds them all. You feel the sacred fire inside you, not burning out of control, but burning with purpose. It's the warmth in your chest when you forgive yourself. It's the breath that returns when you stop running. It's the silence that welcomes all that you are. Inner alchemy isn't just about healing the past. It's about remembering, bringing your parts, your memories, your truths back into the circle, letting them take their seat at the table of your becoming. It's about turning shame into story, wound into wisdom, loss into longing that leads you home. And through this work, something ancient awakens. You begin to feel that your journey isn't just random pain stitched together, but a myth in motion. That your struggles have symbols, your grief has a rhythm, your dreams are messages, and your becoming has always been sacred. So if you've ever asked, why did I go through that? Why does it still hurt? Why do I feel like I'm scattered into pieces? This is your answer. You are not broken. You are refining. And every fragment you've gathered was gold in disguise. Every wound you faced was an initiation. Every lost part of you was a sacred ingredient, waiting for the fire. You are the crucible. You are the alchemist. You are the one who can turn your own life into something holy. So what does it mean to live as an alchemist? To wake up each morning and see your emotions not as distractions, but as data from the soul. To treat your triggers as trailheads, your dreams as maps, your body as a compass, your life as a laboratory. This is not theory, it's practice. It's the daily act of engaging your existence as sacred process. Alchemy isn't escape, it's radical intimacy. It's not about transcending the human, it's about becoming deeply human. And deeply conscious of the mystery moving through you. You are not here to float above life in perfect detachment. You are here to burn, cleanly, purposefully, sacredly, until what's left is true. To live as an alchemist is to walk with a kind of second sight. To see a breakup not as failure, but as refinement. A period of confusion not as chaos, but as incubation. A long stretch of silence not as stagnation, but as inner fermentation. Alchemy demands that we reframe everything, not for comfort, but for meaning. Because the ultimate gift of the alchemist isn't just transformation, it's vision. It's the ability to see symbolically, to see your partner not just as a person, but as a mirror. To see your illness not just as misfortune, but as a message. To see your life not just as a series of events, but as an unfolding mythos. This is what the mystics have always known. The Taoists called it Naden, the internal cultivation of spirit through breath, presence, movement. The Hermeticists inscribed it on emerald tablets, as above, so below, as within, so without. The Sufis spun, turning in circles, not to escape the body, but to embody the divine spiral of the universe. And what do all these traditions share? They recognize that true alchemy isn't found in the heavens. It's found in you, in your breath, in your brokenness, in your brilliance, in your becoming. You are the vessel, the fire, the ingredient, the outcome. You are the process. But this path is not easy, because alchemy requires surrender. It asks you to give up the false self who pretends to be whole, the story that keeps you small, the mask that hides the ache. And in return, it gives you something real, not perfection, not purity, but presence, a kind of inner radiance that doesn't shout, but glows, a gold that doesn't glitter, but guides. So what does a life of inner alchemy look like? It looks like speaking with reverence, even when you're tired, listening to your body as if it were a sacred text, trusting the dream that woke you at 3 a.m., turning toward your shadow and saying, "What are you here to teach me?" It looks like walking through the world with your eyes open and your heart soft, with the awareness that every moment is the material, that your pain is not the end of the story, but the beginning of the fire. that your longing is not a flaw, but a flame that shows you where the gold is buried. And when you live like this, you begin to recognize other alchemists, people who don't just speak in ideas, but embody insight. People whose presence feels like a warm hearth, like they've been tempered by fire, but never turned cold. This is who you are becoming, not by force, but by sacred refinement. So here is the final mystery. There is no philosopher's stone to be found, because you are it, not a stone, but a presence, a consciousness, a self that is no longer divided against itself, a self that can hold paradox, pain, and poetry, and call them all sacred. You don't become this by bypassing the darkness. You become this by burning inside it, with awareness, with honesty, with love. And when you do, you rise, not above life, but into it, fully, radiantly. Next time on the Syntax of the Soul series, we explore, is the soul remembering or becoming? Until then, stay curious, stay conscious. If this stirred something inside you, subscribe, like, and share this with a fellow seeker.